Colleagues, good morning. I hope you can hear me. My name is Konati. Welcome again to this daily media briefing on the system update. It is 10 o'clock. Can I please ask André de Ruyter to come on and give us an update? André, you will then hand over to Mondebala to help us with an update on the municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Sikanati, and good morning to everybody. Thanks for joining us. Colleagues, where we are right now is that we are forecasting an evening peak of 28,266 megawatts. That is our forecast. Excluding available reserve capacity, we have online capacity of 28,144. So you can see that the margin from our conventional capacity is quite tight. We need to maintain reserves of about 2,000 megawatts to cater for any unforeseen incidents in the system. As you know, the system is prone to unpredictable and unreliable operation from time to time. Very pleased to report that our dams are essentially full. We have 1 or 2 hours of pumping left to do to have filled our dams at Drakensberg, Ngula, as well as Palmiet to the brim. So that's been a very good performance overnight by our team. And we've also managed to recover our diesel inventory, which is, of course, a very important part of our emergency reserves in the event that things do go awry. We currently have 3 units that are operating with partial load losses and with known defects that create a significant risk of a trip or a breakdown. These are Duva Unit 1, where we have a high pressure heater leak. That's about 575 megawatts that's at risk. We have a boiler tube leak on Creel Unit 4. That unit is, as Duva 1, still operating, but it can be forced to shut down at any time. And at Medupi 6, we have also a unit at risk. So the total megawatts at risk as we speak right now is about 895 megawatts. We are still carrying on with our planned maintenance. We are doing maintenance on capacity of 7,030 megawatts. Unplanned outages, full outages, today amount to 5,755 megawatts. Our partial load losses at this point in time is 4,256. Now that's a significant improvement from where we were previously. It's about 2,000 megawatts better than when we were in the midst of stage 4 load shedding. So again, a good performance to recover those partial load losses by our generation team. That leaves us with a total unplanned capacity loss of 10,011 megawatts. We are going to be releasing a unit at Drakensberg. Unit 3 is going to go out on scheduled maintenance. Again, the signal is that we don't compromise on scheduled maintenance. We want to ensure that we look after our assets as best we can. And this outage will last for about 100 days. That's the current schedule. And that will reduce the potential output from Drakensberg by 333 megawatts. Now, this good recovery in the system has enabled us to reduce load shedding to stage 2 from stage 3 currently. We are going to go down to stage 2 at 12 o'clock today. And we will maintain stage 2 until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, Friday. And we will then be in a position to lift load shedding, as by then the system will have sufficiently recovered that we can continue to operate and meet normal demand. Speaking about demand, however, I think it's very useful to just indicate that we can really avoid load shedding and even the severity of load shedding by a collaborative effort across all of our customers. We have about 14 million households in South Africa. So if we all play a part, we can really make a difference. So let me give you some interesting statistics on that. When you leave a room and you switch off the light, if all households were to switch off just one unnecessary light, that will save about 835 megawatts. So that's a huge number. That is more than one unit at a big power station like Medupi, saved by just switching off every household one unnecessary light. If you replace the old-fashioned incandescent light bulbs, hopefully there aren't too many of those around anymore, if all households did that, and in particular also these halogen downlighters, they are very energy intensive, we can reduce our evening demand by about 765 megawatts. So again, equivalent to one entire unit at a big power station. If people with swimming pools, and we understand there's about 675,000 swimming pools that are operated in South Africa, if these pumps run for just 1 hour less a day, and you'll still get rid of all of your dirt in the water, it's just 1 hour less a day, that'll save 506 megawatts. And if everybody in South Africa reduced their geyser temperatures to 60 degrees, and in particular switched off geysers during peak hours, particularly over the evening peak, that would save about 743 megawatts. Now, if you add up all of these interventions, that will save a total of 2,849 megawatts, which is the equivalent of the output of one of our power stations, or equivalent to the consumption of a large city like Tshwane. And this goes to show that small actions, minor actions, being energy efficient, being energy aware, really can make a difference to manage our system better. And we again want to thank the citizens of South Africa for supporting our energy alerts. We can see that it makes a difference. For those who are not yet participating, please be mindful and please assist us. So with your cooperation and support, I think we can manage our demand better. We are, however, very pleased to announce the earlier lifting of load shedding than anticipated. So from tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, no more load shedding. And I think that's the good news for the day. I'm now going to hand over to my colleague, André de Ruyter, who's the Group Executive for Distribution, and he will talk a bit more about the matters related to municipalities. André, please.
Thank you, André, and good morning, colleagues. Just on the update on the municipality side, I'm also pleased to announce that since the last briefing that we've had an extremely positive reaction and collaboration with the municipalities. Just to give you an update, we have issued all the letters, as I've indicated yesterday, to all the municipalities who, in our view, are non-compliant. Some have raised disputes. I'm sure we've heard in the media this morning some saying that they are complying. That matter we've handed over to the regulator for the regulator to deal with that aspect within the within the process of the regulator. So just in terms of the numbers, I have indicated that yesterday that 45% of our key industrial customers were non-compliant on the day. We have engaged with each of those key industrial customers, and we've subsequently issued letters to those. We've had positive responses from the majority of them, and those that require further assistance, some have raised some safety issues. We are engaging with them to see how best we can assist them to make sure that they fully comply. On the municipalities themselves that do their own load shedding, again, letters have been issued to them. I can confirm that we've issued letters to 17 municipalities that do their own load shedding. And yes, we have received a positive response from them. As of this morning, some are fully compliant. We do have some that are still citing some technical reasons, which we are again assisting in trying to make sure that we get to the megawatts that. So I think, Mr. Manchacha, that is an update on the Munich side. I think what is important is that where disputes are raised, we are engaging with the municipalities themselves. Our local control are in touch with the control of the municipalities, and with the system operator to make sure that we do what is responsible to balance the system. With the engagements, some have cited that they require a bit of time. We are actively part in those engagements, and we are always on hand to assist. Just again, on the teams on the ground, the technicians are on the ground to make sure that whatever residual issues that come post load shedding, that those get attended to promptly. So, Mr. Manchacha, that is the update in as far as the situation with the municipalities is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Monde. Thank you, André, for the update. So let's just repeat, confirm again. Load shedding will be reduced to stage 2 this afternoon, and will then be suspended tomorrow morning at 5. Colleagues, that is the update from our side. If there is anyone with a question, please do keep it short, and we'll keep it to a maximum 2 questions at a time. Mariam Issa, please unmute yourself and ask your 2 questions. Thank you. Mariam Issa, are you able to unmute and grace us with your questions? Colleagues, I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you, Skonati.
Thank you. We seem to be.
Okay, I'm in now. Thank you. Yeah, I had 2 questions. One, a quick follow-up on what was said just now. Just wondering what the technical reasons were that were raised by the municipalities and the safety issues that were raised by the key industrial customers. And my second question is just a very quick follow-up on Coburg. We were told in a recent briefing that Unit 2 was going to be taken off for 155 days, early January next year, for the maintenance and steam generator replacement. But isn't it going to be followed by the same procedure for Unit 1, meaning that we're going to have this outage for the whole of next year?
Thank you, Mariam. Monde, please tackle the question on the municipalities, and André, you will help us with the next set of questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Mariam, for the question. Just on the issue of the technical issues that have been cited, by some of the municipalities. I can give an example of the one municipality who struggled with one of their breakers. They could not open and close, and as such, they could not give us a full block for that particular portion of their network. So that was the one. It is a municipality in Limpopo. On the safety reasons, this relates directly to some of the mines who have indicated that they run the risk because of flooding the mines. So those are some of the things that we are looking into to see how best we can then support them going forward. So those are in the main the reasons that have been cited. Thank you, Squalanti.
Mande, thank you. André, please, can you talk to Koeberg?
Yeah, thanks, Miriam. You are quite correct that we have 2 sequential outages scheduled for next year for the steam generator replacement project. These are large projects. We have done a huge amount of preparatory work in order to maximize the successful outcome of this project. With other words, meeting our timelines within which we intend to complete this project. We have engaged with the contractor, Framatome, to ensure that they have mobilized all of their resources. We have doubled up on our own internal project management resources. So we have taken all the steps that we can in order to perform these outages and do the steam generator replacement in the scheduled time. I think the risk that you are alluding to, namely that we have these extended outages, which obviously places a greater burden on the rest of the system, that is going to be our key risk that we need to manage. We are very aware of this risk, and we are putting in place contingency plans to ensure that we can address the fact that we will lose this 928 megawatts of capacity per Koeberg unit for an extended period of time. But clearly, during the execution of these projects, our coal-fired generation fleet will have to step up to the plate and perform above what they have been doing in the past in order to minimize the risk of load shedding during these outages. Thanks, Mariam.
Thank you, André. The next question will come from a guest by the name of F. Jane. Please identify yourself and your media organization and give us your 2 questions. Thank you. Unmute yourself, please.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Francesca Villet. I'm a journalist at the Cape Times newspaper in Cape Town. Miriam actually answered or asked the question I was going to ask previously, but I would like Mr. on the steam generator at Koeberg and what are the plans for next year when it is out. But I would like to ask Mr. de Ruyter to just, if you could elaborate on what some of those plans are to mitigate load shedding during that time to ensure that electricity demand is met. And then also, Mr. de Ruyter, you mentioned that the coal-fired generation is going to have to step up during that time as well. Can you guarantee that that coal-fired generation will be able to do what it should do? Thank you very much.
André, please go ahead. Please lower your hand, ma'am.
Thank you for those questions. I think, first of all, given where we are and with the well-known challenges that we face on our coal-fired generation, a guarantee that there will be no load shedding is not something that I think we should consider giving at this point in time. It's just not something that I think we can give as a 100% bankable guarantee to the people of South Africa. So we can't do that. And that is why we wish to step up our communication and make sure that we can deliver the best possible project execution that we can, so that we can minimize the duration of the outage. Let's talk about these two outages. They are outages 225 and 126. The 2 and the 1 prefix just refers to the unit. These are extremely complex outages. In fact, they will be the most complex scope executed during Koeberg's operating history to date. It is unavoidable. It is a critical part of the life extension of Koeberg. From time to time, we are in the position where we have to plug leaks in the current steam generators, and this, of course, is something that we need to address. Again, I must stress that there's no risk here of any radiation and contamination, but clearly we cannot operate the plant for a further 20 years when the current steam generators have reached the end of its life. We are very aware that these outages in the past at Koeberg in particular have not met the criteria for delivery on schedule, and some of it relates to skill, some of it relates to staff morale, some of it relates to contractor skill, and some of it relates to outage readiness. With other words, how long and how well we are prepared before we pull the trigger on the project to kick off. Given the criticality of the Koeberg units, we have, as you may recall, already delayed these projects by a year. They were supposed to have been done this year, and we have used this time to really turn over every rock to ensure that we can improve the predictability of this outage by deploying extra resources, by investing in training, by looking at staff morale, by ensuring that we can project manage with appropriate resources to a far greater extent than we have done so previously. So from our perspective, we have done everything that we can in order to ensure that we are ready for this outage. We believe that, like with any major complex project, there is some risk, but we have put in place all the necessary steps that we can to enable us to minimize the duration of the outage while ensuring the quality and, of course, the safety of all of our staff. Thanks, Ikonati.
Thank you, André. The next question comes from Jan Vermeulen. Please identify yourself, and immediately it will be Chris Yelland after you. Thank you. You have to unmute yourself, please. Chris, do you want to take the opportunity? Okay, colleagues, I will take this gap and read the two questions that we have on the chat. Narisa Subramani is from City Press. Sorry, I apologize. From the Citizen newspaper. She has a question, two questions, but in summary, her issue is that people are frustrated and irritated with load shedding, and she compares it to voter apathy, where people didn't turn up, and indeed the municipalities that would appear did simply ignore the instruction of the system operator. Here are the questions. How would you respond to the public's frustration with load shedding? That's for André de Ruyter. And what words of encouragement can we take away from today to get this message across to the public? André, those are questions from the Citizen newspaper. Narissa Subramani, please.
Thanks, Narissa. We fully understand the frustration that load shedding causes to the public. It impacts everybody's daily life. We all get frustrated sitting in traffic. We all get frustrated when we can't have the lights on or watch television at night. So it's a very understandable emotion and something that we really empathize with and that we have apologized for in the past, and we'll do so again. That said, I think we face two options here. The first option is to ignore pleas for being wise in electricity consumption and to be profligate in the use of electricity. That, of course, is not something that we can control. But if everybody did that, the risk of load shedding and the risk of increasing this frustration and inconvenience will just increase. And we don't believe that that is an outcome that rational South Africans would want to encourage. We therefore think that, and this again part of the reason why we are communicating extensively, that by making available as much information as possible about the challenges that we face, about the role that South Africans can collectively play to minimize the risk of load shedding, that there is a really good opportunity for us to collectively work together while we bring additional capacity on the grid at the earliest possible opportunity. So my plea to South Africans is, yes, we understand your frustration. Yes, we understand your anger and your irritation. But if we all play a small part, switching off a light when you're not in the room, for example, if everyone in South Africa did that, we would save the equivalent of a Medupi unit in terms of demand on the system. And we believe that this is a really small gesture that collectively can make a major difference. So we really would like to urge and ask South Africans to cooperate with this request and assist us to minimize the risk of load shedding. Thank you.
Thank you, André. Jan Vermeulen from my broadband could not unmute himself. Here's his question. City Power has joined the city of Cape Town in disputing Eskom's allegations that they didn't comply with load shedding instructions. What is Eskom's response to this? That's a question for you, Monde. Let us take it, please, with Sabelo Skiti's question. He's from the Sunday Times. Just a quick one. How can Eskom ask the public to play their part when it is unable to reveal to the same public the identity of the key industrial customers that did not comply? Mr. Bala.
Thank you, Sekonati. Jan, I think we have noted the comments by City Power that they are fully compliant. As I've indicated previously, that matter has now been referred to the regulator. We have presented the details to the regulator, and it's for them now to deal with that matter now within their processes. I can just confirm, Jan, that as of this morning, what we see on the Eskom system is that City Power is fully complying with their requirements. Just to Sabelo's question, Sabelo, I did respond previously to the question about disclosing names of customers similar to each of us. I do believe that this was just but one event. They remain our customers, and we need to respect the relationship that we have with our customers, because beyond this point, we also need their cooperation in making sure that when there's future load shedding scenarios, that they come to the party. So yes, we are working with them. We are engaging with each of those customers, including the municipalities themselves, to make sure that we all do our bit in maintaining the stability of the grid. Thank you, Skonat.
Mande, thank you for that response. Colleagues, it's now 10:30 and we are going to close this media briefing after Chris's question. We have closed the chat now at 10:30. And Chris, I hope you are now unmuted and you can ask your question.
Yes, thank you, Sekanati. I'm also talking about the municipal and the key industrial customer non-compliance. Can you perhaps indicate clearly the degree of non-compliance, firstly for the municipalities affected, that is the 26 municipalities, as well as for the 45% of key industrial customers as a separate indicator? The point I'm trying to get at is, let's just say a key industrial customer is required to reduce demand by a certain level. These offending key industrial customers, on average, what was the percentage of non-compliance in terms of how much did they reduce or did not reduce? So if they were asked to reduce by 10%, did they just reduce to 9%? In other words, was there a substantial degree of compliance, although not full compliance? And the same applies to municipalities. To what extent did they fail to comply? Is it significant or is it not very significant? Thank you.
That's for you, Mande. Chris, please do lower your hand.
No, thanks, Konati, and Chris, thanks for the question. Yeah, I think the significance of the degree of non-compliance is in the evidence that we move from stage 2 to stage 4. So that's how significant the level of non-compliance across on the system itself. As to the split, what is the split between the municipalities and key industrial customers? Unfortunately, Chris, I have not done that analysis at this point in time. What I will do through Sikonati, I can share those details in terms of percentages, and they will be made available to you. Thank you, Sikonati.
Mande, thank you. The last question, which is on my WhatsApp, and that is the absolute last question, comes from Paul Ash of the Sunday Times. It's a question for André. The CEO mentioned earlier it takes Treasury on average 77 days to approve payment for spares, etc. Is there any way of speeding this up? Thank you so much. The last point on the chat comes from Miriam Issa. It's not a question really, it's a statement. City Power's claim that it has actually complied in the past does not seem to be correct. In my suburb, they have frequently not load shed during the allocated times. Can we get an answer, please, André, to the National Treasury question? How can we shorten the process? And after that, will you kindly repeat what you said earlier as your opening statement with regards to the load shedding now and what's going on until tomorrow? Just thank you.
Right, thanks Paul for that question. I think one of the ways in which we have been trying to assist National Treasury in understanding the urgency and some of the technical detail inherent in our requests has been to make available engineers to go and sit with National Treasury to work through these applications with them. I think that in some instances, some of the technical requirements are very detailed and very specific to power stations. So understandably, procurement officials at National Treasury don't necessarily have all of the technical detail at their disposal. But I do think that we run the risk of becoming muscle bound with governance, and we should look at a system that still maintains adequate control and accountability over public money. We understand we have responsibility to spend public money wisely, bearing in mind, of course, that some of the most egregious abuses of public money took place while the PFMA was in fact being applied to Eskom. So we are in discussions with National Treasury to see if there are other ways for us to expedite this, and in order to make sure that collectively we have the necessary sense of urgency when it comes to dealing with some of these very urgent applications, so that we can get responses quickly and react as quickly as we can, because these challenges do have a bearing on the duration of load shedding, and therefore they have a significant economic impact. Thanks, Paul. So, Sikonati, just to recap.
André seems to have, unfortunately, left the group. I hope he rejoins now to recap. Can I ask Rulani to just close off with, again, repeating the update on load shedding? Rulani Matebula, please.
Sikonati, thanks. Yeah, what Andre had indicated, as we discussed with him this morning, is that we will reduce our load shedding stage to level 2 by midday today, and we aim to actually lift load shedding entirely by 5 a.m. tomorrow. Thanks, Sikonati.
Thank you, Rulani. Colleagues, this is the end of today's media briefing. We do aim to keep you regularly updated, as we have previously communicated. We shall again meet at 10 a.m. tomorrow, that is Friday. By then, we will have lifted load or suspended load shedding, and we will meet at 10 to give you an update again on what the system looks like. And we will, at that meeting as well, make 1 or 2 announcements, as well as informing or agreeing with the members of the media how often this should be done, this update. At this point, thank you very much. I must inform you that a statement, the power alert, to confirm that load shedding will be reduced to stage 2 at 12 and will be suspended at 5 in the morning tomorrow, that is Friday. We will release that statement shortly. Thank you very much for your attendance again, and have yourselves a nice day.
Thank you, Sikonati.
Thank you.